This is going to be a quick demonstration of the three primary views that we use with the Visio Data Center Rack tool when we're displaying cabinets from a data center. The three views are of a single frame, which will give us a front and rear view of it, a single row, which we can also do front and rear views, and what we call a composite view. Our first step for all of these is to select the data that we're going to use to create the drawing, and we're going to do a rack select from the SQL Server database. Our first example is we're going to come over to row BB1. We're going to select cabinet BB07, select our data source, which really loads the data into the tool in one of two formats, data table and data record sets. Data record sets, of course, give us the ability to store the data used to create the drawing in the drawing. We'll go with data table. We've selected the data. It has shown us the tables that have been queried and the records brought in. We'll exit, come up here to create, and we'll do a full view. So here's our drawing. Once again, we have a single cabinet with a front view and a rear view. At this point in time, we could use the tool to go do data entry, or what we'll do now is select a single component, come up to data, do data graphic, and apply a data graphic to it. This is different than normally done in Visio, in that normally a data graphic would be applied to the shape. What we've done is we put a surrogate shape on the page and applied the data graphic to it. This gives us a few benefits. If we reselect the same component, once again I can come up to data graphic, select operating system, and it gives me the operating system data for that component. And once again, we can come over here and grab product data, and we'll grab that. So we can have multiple data graphics open simultaneously for a single component. Let's move off of this diagram, delete the page, go back to our data select, to rack select. In this case, we will select row BB2, which has 9 cabinets in it. To our data source, load the data table. Load is complete. Create our drawing, create a front view. As we've mentioned in other videos, we do color values to show network status, red being inactive, green being active, and blue being unconfigured. Since the data has already been pulled into the tool, we don't need to go back to the database. We can go directly and create another view of the same data. In this case, we'll do the rear cabinets. Now, in a production environment, and as you're walking down the rows and adding components and verifying that things haven't changed since your last audit, the pages may get out of sync. So what we'll do is we'll apply a page sync to the front view and the rear view and enable it. And then this allows me to come zoom in on the, for instance, this chassis. And as I move back and forth between the two drawings, the tool will keep the drawings in sync. For our final example of a possible display function, what we're going to do is create a composite row. And a composite row is when I select cabinets from different rows. In this case, what I will do is I'll start in row AL1, select cabinet AL07, and you can see it selected down here in this list. What this list does is it tells me that cabinet AL07 is connected to a half dozen other frames. We're going to select CL08, includes it, and now what I want to do is I want to come over to the row where those reside and include one additional frame. Load the data appropriate for these frames, exit, and we'll do it slightly different this time. This time I want the cable data also drawn. Draw, create the drawing, and a rear view. So what we can see for a start is the tool also supports, beyond the detailed data for the vendor components, cabinets are also considered a component, so we have vendor specifics. Get that out of the way, move that out. And what we're doing here is, let's just zoom in. The tool is showing us that we have patch cables in the AL07 which go up to a patch panel. We then have infrastructure cables that go across the floor to another patch panel, and from there we can see the detailed cabling there as well. The reason these cables are red is they're fiber optic. We use blue for copper. And that will conclude this short demo.